the live streaming is coming. Okay, I think. So, Mario.
Okay. I'm going to share the screen. Oh, Claudia, do you want me to share the screen for you, or do you want to share the screen and I talk?
You can do that.
Okay. Can you watch? Can you see my screen?
Yes, very good.
Okay. Okay, like Stefano said, we are going to talk about this interesting topic, and we are going to share this session between Poland, Italy, and Spain partners. This is a short index or about the topics we are going to talk during this session. The first one is about the role of parents and families in children's development. Then the importance of the relationship between teachers and parents, and also how schools can engage parents in preventing this phenomenon we are talking about, that is bullying. Then there are some warning signs that can be helpful for being detected in advance in order to take action as soon as possible, and also some tips or strategies for helping parents on preventing their children from becoming either a victim or a bully and aggression. Okay, I cannot go forward. I don't know why. Sorry. Okay. The first we are going to talk about is about the role of the parents and families. We all know that how important is the family as an institution for children. Is the first institution on which they develop and from which they take first strategies for socialization, and also the place that shapes either their personality, and also it has the biggest influence on every aspect of children's life. So when we are talking about bullying, is a key involving the family in any prevention, detention or intervention program. And talking about programs, you remember from the other sessions that the phenomenon is complex. It's not only about the bully and the victim, but it includes there is a systemic process in the relationships between all the context, the family, the school, the neighborhood, even all the environment. And by including parents in preventing programs, we can have reinforced all our actions. And it is not enough to develop one program 1 year. Research said that if we want to involve and have a result of involving parents in preventing bullying, it's important to have these programs at least once a year for parents, for children, for teachers, for all the people involved on this problem. And in these programs, the parents can share their experience and also learn or have a support in other parents and also in the school context for developing healthy relationships between parents and children, because they are a model. They are the ones to which the children spend most of their time, and children learn from the model, so they later will emulate what they are seeing in the relationship with their families. Many times it's not always like this, but it's a very important institution to be be aware in this phenomena. Then it also happens that, as we talked in previous sessions, this bullying starts in a very early ages, and sometimes the reason children don't understand the reason why they are behaving as they are doing, but they are only following how they feel. But it doesn't mean we don't have to intervene. For instance, there are children that think that screaming or pushing other or something like that can get the things they need or they want. And it's not like that. If nobody said or tell them this is not the way to achieve things or to express their feelings, and they do not have another way to do it, they will think it's okay doing like this. So in the very early ages, the earlier we start, the earlier this behavior or this initial bullying will finish. So it's very important. The family is very important always, but in the very early ages is key for not having the problem bigger. And I give the word to Claudia.
Thank you, Marianne. As Marianne said, the educational process in its fullest form should rely on the cooperation of teachers, parents, and students. So we've got these three aspects, teachers, parents, and students. Why? Children spend a lot of time at home where they learn attitudes, behaviors, and values. So school should collaborate with parents, because the lack of relationship between parents and the school is a risk factor of violence. And the second basic information, it is worth being aware of the fact that teachers and parents share the common goal, which is sustainable, psychological, intellectual, and moral growth of a child. Marianne, you can skip. Thank you. So the cooperation between teachers and parents is essential, because both of them are responsible for the upbringing the children. School cannot do it alone. This is very important to achieve consistency in the behavior of teachers and parents towards children. They should follow the same rules and the same values. The knowledge about the expectation of each other is also very helpful. It is good to know what parents want from teachers and what kind of help teachers want from parents. Also, efficient prevention of addiction needs collaboration between parents and school. The school should engage parents in preventing actions. The good example of such action is organizing a meeting about bullying or addiction problem among teenagers, and spread leaflets about that among parents, where they could find information on how to recognize addiction, how to prevent it, and where they should go for help, some phone numbers and such things. Parents can also help school in its organizational problems. Sorry. Organizational problems. Moreover, parents' opinions can help teachers improve their teaching methods. Parents are also very important source of information about children and their educational and behavioral problems, because they spend a lot of time with their children. So the contact between teachers and parents is really crucial. Parents can also help in many school issues, because they work in different professions and they can share their skills and knowledge with teachers. So we should remember about that also as a teachers. Next slide, please, Marianne.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I cannot go forward again.
Yes, and here's the table. Thank you. That shows that there is a lot of ways how the school can engage parents in the school life. These actions can be divided into these three parts, main areas: information, education, and intervention. In the informational part, we can find periodic parents-teachers meetings, which are very common in every school. Of course, there are some rules that help make these meetings meaningful, like respect to each other, giving the voice to every parent, and such things. Also, the possibility to meet with school specialists is very important. Parents can have questions and doubts, and they do not know where to find answers. School can create a space where they can ask these questions and find advices and help. And periodical newsletters are a good idea also. It is a good form of sharing information with parents. We can put their information about children's successes and progresses, about school actions, about problems, and also about activities that parents can get involved in. For example, when we need parents in something, we can give a text about that and information that we need such help, and someone can say that they can help. Newsletters should be short, clear, and interesting, because parents are very busy people, so they don't want to read long things and things that are not interesting for them. In educational part, we can find actions that can broaden parents' understanding of educational process, its socio-pedagogical aspects, and the role of families in the development of children. Such actions can also develop parents' psychological, pedagogical, and social skills. We can do it by workshops or open meetings with specialists. The development of parents' social skills is essential because children learn from them. They imitate their behavior. The good way to engage parents in preventing bullying is educating them about problems that can arise in a school life. We can organize thematic meetings for parents about problems in relations, their causes and symptoms, and advices how parents can help their children in, for example, building relationships. The meetings can address also topics such as learning problems, behavioral disorders, drug and alcohol addiction, etc., etc., etc. And the last part, intervention. The school should provide parents the possibility to talk with a teacher or school specialist in difficult situations. Also, parents should be open to meetings with teachers in situations that are difficult, unclear, and sometimes dangerous. Telephone contact is also a good way to keep the contact between school and parents, to share opinions and manage simple issues. Marianne, you can give me the next slide.
Today is very slowly, sorry.
Time to rethink these issues.
No, I don't know what is happening. I think I'm going to share the screen again because I don't know what happened.
Okay. Oh, yes, we can see it. So now I will present some useful tips that can help make the relationship with parents more meaningful. The first one, try to create a space to conversation with parents. Do not talk to them in the school corridor. Find a quiet place if possible. Reserve some time for the meeting. The school break is not enough. It is not the place and not the time to lead such conversations. Also, do not talk only about problems. Start the meeting with something positive. During the meeting with the teachers, parents are accustomed to hearing only about children's problems, mistakes, and bad behavior. Try to change it. Show them that you care about their child, that you see every small progress and you appreciate it. It's very important for parents to hear that their children are appreciated and that are in progress. Also, let parents express their opinions, their fears, their doubts, their opinions about the learning process, the relations in the class, the causes of problem and ideas, how to manage them, can help you understand the problem and find appropriate solutions. Also, the fears and doubts raised by parents play an important role. Fears can show you that something goes wrong and maybe you should rethink something. Of course, sometimes the fears are unfounded, but it is also very important to explain it to parents and calm them down. Try to listen carefully, parents. Show that parents' opinions are very important to you and that you respect their point of view, even if you don't agree with it. Remember that parents know their children best, so their cooperation can really help. Try also to propose solutions. Marian, can you give me the next slide, please? Something goes wrong with this presentation.
Yes. Maybe if you want to try to.
I'll do it me then.
Okay, I don't know what's happening.
Don't worry. Stop sharing. I will do it me. I'm just checking one question. Where are we now? Okay, I think we are here. Let me share the screen. Okay, let me start from presentation. Okay, is this one?
Yes, nine, okay. So try to propose solutions, encourage parents to share their opinions. Maybe they will give you ideas that you didn't think of. Show that you want their engagement and that you appreciate their cooperation. Explain parents how important is their role in educational process and the multi-level development of their child, and how important is consistency between parents and teachers. The word consistency is very essential here. Children need to have clear rules that don't change when they go back home from school. And create an atmosphere of openness and trust. parents really needs it, and I think we also as teachers also needs it. Let parents tell about their fears, needs, and expectations. Answer their questions with patience and do not criticize them. Tell them about your doubts and fears. Show them you treat your job seriously. You really want to help the child and children you educate. Stefano, please give me the next slide. Something black is on the right down side of the screen.
Yeah, it's your face. I don't see your face.
My face, okay.
I can reduce it.
Okay. Thank you. and here I've got a little maybe not a workshop, but a tip how to prepare a leaflet. To prepare a leaflet that will be interesting for parents, try to provide only the most important information, not to overwhelm the leaflet. The text there should be short and clear. As I said before, people have no time to read long texts and things that are sophisticated, so it should be as clear as possible. Try to give it an interesting form. I try to do it here. Maybe it is not perfect, but you can use colors, you can use bold or such things, some pictures to make it to keep the attention of parents. In the topic is about some problem, you can add the addresses of institutions where the parents can find help. It's very important because sometimes parents don't know where to go, when to call, when to find answers, and just ask questions. So it's very important to do that. Please, the next slide. And here is the example of the leaflet. It's in Polish, but that does never mind, because I just wanted to show you how such a leaflet should look like. It should be colorful, it should be clear, as you see. It should always have title to keep the attention of people. You can show the symptoms of problems, for example, about addictions or bullying or such things. Some important information that you can adapt to the topic you want to present. Information on what to do, clear and short, but very specific. And as I told before, useful phone numbers and addresses to the institutions that can help. This is very, very important. Next slide, please. This is the part of Marian.
Yes, this is some fundamental information. Many times when the bullying starts, the situation is invisible for all the people around the child or the children. And there are three main indicators or three main visible behaviors that can give the warning message to the families, and they are the isolation of the children. That means that the child tends to search to be alone, not to have a lot of relations, or not to communicate a lot, tends to the isolation, when before it was not the usual behavior. And this is related with the second indicator, that is that family can see a change of character. It can be a big change or only little changes that make the family think something is happening. It's said that even if the child is not saying nothing, over the days, the family is the first place, the father or the mother, where they are the first person that start to have the intuition that something is happening. and be aware of this character change is a clue, and it can be an important element to be aware to intervene as soon as possible. And then it can also happen that the situation makes the child feel so a big anxiety that at the end the bullying gets disclosure, so the child will tell the parents directly what is happening. So in this, these are the three main indicators. We can provide families to be aware if they suspect, or to be aware to control in their children. And the second point is an interesting topic. I'm not sure I agree with that, but I found it interesting to share with you, because it talks about the position of power, and this author indicates, according to their studies and research, there are at least 4 ways for achieving the position of power. That doesn't mean it's a negative aspect, can be positive. And these 4 ways are the love. A person has power as far as over those that love him or her. So it means you can influence people when making them feel loved or valuable or unique or chosen, but you can also make feel people unworthy or unloved. And in some cases, the bullying begins in the framework of a friendship relationship that becomes in a destructive relationship. That is the meaning of love as a way of position of power. Then there is another way, that is the authority. In the case of the school, the authority is not only for the adults, so it's not only for the teachers, and neither only for the parents, but there are in the class some boys and girls that have authority over others, maybe because of their character, if they are great leaders, or maybe because they are the best in some sport, or maybe they are on a start in dancing or in some activity children's value, or they feel they are very good in some subject. So sometimes there are many reasons why the children can give authority to other child. And this is another way to have the power. Then one is, this is very clear, that is the physical strength. So when a boy or a girl are physically stronger than the others, they have that authority given by the strength. It doesn't mean they use it for nothing, but there is this kind of power. And then there is another one, that is the social difference. It means a person has power over other people or groups by some characteristic that means they are a minority. This is social inequalities create power structures and make the violence possible. So for the same reasons, a characteristic can be a font of wealth, or can be the reasons to be bullied. So this last one is interesting one. I repeat, I'm not sure I agree with it, but I found these 4 ways of getting power were very interesting to have in mind, because it said that when we teach children to how to choose who they want to empower and why, by they have tools to prevent bullying, because they can distinguish between the one, if they give power because they love the boy or the girl, if they can distinguish if this love is for good or not for good. So I wanted to share with you this way. Next one, please. Next slide. And then there are another warning signs that are related with the three mains, but they are much more specific, like the somatization. So it often happens that in the morning or also at night, the children feels bad, have stomach aches, or do not want to go to school, or once in the school, he or she report to the teachers that he feels bad and asks for the parents to go and pick him. The changes of habit this is regarding to also to the isolation, and so it can happen that before he makes the route with some peers, or once in the playground, once arriving in the school, he started to interact with someone, and that he started to change the habit. Also, the attitude toward the school. So sometimes it can happen the two extremes, or the academic performance gets higher because it's centered on that. Many times it's the opposite. Parents notice something is happening because of low academic achievements. And then the change in character are the same we talked about, related with isolation and change on the ways he's behaving. That affect also to the self-esteem and so on. Other warning signs are the change in the, this is in some way an habit on if they feel hungry or not. Sometimes they have the anxiety goes to the stomach, so it can happen that something changes in how he feels about eating or not. It can happen that he or she doesn't sleep well at night and wake up with nightmares. And sometimes as a way of defense, they start to threaten or attack other children that are younger than them. And in the first stage, when parents ask directly, he or she tends to say that nothing is going bad, that everything is fine. And even when it's clear for the family that something is not going good and they suspect of bullying, he can be involved in a bullying dynamic, he or she find silly excuses to justify what is happening. Maybe he can tell he have a lot to study if he's older, and that is why he cannot sleep well, or why he come alone because he needs to do something alone or so on. So the fact that a child gives you an excuse that sounds silly or weird or not, it can be a warning sign for the parents. Next slide, please. Claudia.
Microphone, sorry. And here we've got some tips how parents can prevent their child from becoming a victim. These are, of course, the most common. There are a lot of them. I will just present a few of them. The first one: build trust and openness in the family. Only then a child will not be afraid to say that he or she has problems. A child must feel fully accepted. Adults sometimes have problems with understanding that small things for them can be a real problem for a child. Parents should take seriously the problems their child tell them about. The next thing: never underestimate the problems the child tell you about. When children see that adults don't react, they stop telling them about problems they see or have. Sometimes when a child says about problems, parents tell them, do not complain, don't pay attention when they offend you. After a number of such situations, a child will just give up. They may also become indifferent to the harm of others because they imitate the behavior of their parents. The third thing, talk about bullying. Tell what to do when a child sees bullying or when they are a victim. Parents do not need to wait until the child will signal them a problem. It is better to prevent than to solve the problems. So parents can start the conversation about bullying and they can just do it themselves. They can tell a child what are the examples of bullying, physical and psychological, and that a child should always tell when seeing such behavior at school, even if the aggressor used threats. The next slide, please. Thank you. Initiate conversation about school. Ask specific questions, not just the general ones. Such questions as, what was going on at school and after school? What lessons you don't like and why? What do you do during the breaks? Because when I was a child, I blah, 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 blah. With who do you spend the breaks? What do other children do? These questions can lead you to the situations where bullying may touch your children. So these conversations are not pointless. They are very important to know the dynamic of school life of your child. The next one, make sure that the child has relationships with peers. Then the child will not be so lonely and defenseless. Invite your child's colleagues from school to your home, spend time with them, talk about these colleagues with your child, ask questions about feeling of your child towards these children and other children. Then next thing, build the child's assertiveness. It will help them not to be a passive victim or observer. And the question is how to build assertiveness. Let the child express their opinion. Let them take decisions, even if it will be small decisions. Let them take these decisions. Teach them independence in small matters. For example, making order in the restaurant, saying kindly but firmly that they don't like something, at such things. Next slide, please. Thank you. And the last tip here, stay alert. When a child is sad or worried, parents should investigate the causes. React when you notice something worrying. Ask teachers, other parents, other children. Don't stay quiet. And we as teachers, we should know that we can pass this information, pass on this information to parents. We can prepare an open meeting, a leaflet, or share it during conversation with parents, because sometimes they don't have a will or a possibility to find such information. So it is very, very good to pass on to them such information, they can be helpful. Okay, we can go on.
Okay, and what a family can do if they suspect of bullying. First of all, it might be heartbreaking for the parents, for the father or a mother, think or start to be aware they think their son or daughter is suffering and that they do not feel well going to school and knowing this is happening nearly each day. So under the minimum suspicious, it's recommendable to ask directly to the child and encourage and support him on speaking out about what is happening. And then it's also very important because sometimes as a reaction without thinking too much, it's important not to blame on the children, not to make him or her responsible of the situation by telling, oh, you are too sad, or maybe it's happened because you are very nervous, or you, I don't know, not to react in the way of blaming the children and giving him or her all the responsibility of the situation. And also it's very important to ask them to explain what happened and how many times it happened, because most of the times bullying is not during the lessons, but it's in the corridor, in the playground, or at the entrance, or when the children are leaving the school. So it started as invisible for adults, let's say, but it's important to ask the child to explain how many times it's happening, when, and what he did. Also, what was her reaction if there were some others seeing what's happening. And also very important is getting in contact with the schools, because families, we will see it later, family and school should be a bridge of collaboration. It cannot be different and not communicative, not cooperative way of approaching to anything in the children's life. So it's very important also to get in contact with the school and talk with the tutor and see what is happening. Next slide, please. And the same if you are a father or a mother and think your child can be acting as a bully. The first is not to blame you as a parent, because many times the actions of the children are not related with or are not the reflection of what the parents are trying to instill in the children at home. So it's not to blame to the parents themselves. So react calmly again, and as again, it's the same behavior than with when you think the children is bullied. Is asking directly what is happening and asking why he's behaving like that, because and also be aware that he feel beloved. He has to have clear that the behavior is not acceptable, so it's completely unacceptable and it's not right. But it's also important that the child feel support and beloved, and that have the idea that he has to stop doing like that, and he is going to have help for changing. And also important to get in contact with the school. The next one, please. That is going a bit in deep with the children, because maybe he's worried about something, or trying to make him feel how he would feel if something happened to him like that, and also teaching him ways of expressing their feelings or solving conflict. And as we said, talk to the tutor and to the teachers, explain everything, taking also the information of what they if they observe something at the school, and agree on actions. So again, it's working together towards the same point. Next one.
Now I would like to present some tips on the topic how parents can prevent their child from becoming the aggressor. So before we were talking about preventing the child of becoming a victim, now of becoming the aggressor. The first, I think the most important information, that aggression leads to aggression. When a child sees aggressive behavior in his or her family environment, they can imitate them. Children do not know what is right or not. They only learn behavior and attitudes from parents, siblings, and people around them. So the most important thing is to show them proper attitudes based on communication, understanding of each other. Children cannot see any kind of violence as a way of solving problems because it is a risk factor that can lead them to bullying behavior because they will imitate the aggression and they will think that aggression is a way of solving conflicts, but it is not. Okay, the next one, show that the child is accepted. Sometimes the lack of acceptation in the family is the cause of bullying behavior at school. Aggression can be a cry to be noticed and loved, as Marian said before. Also teach the child how to discharge his anger safely. Show the negative emotions are normal, but we do not need to hurt others or ourselves to deal with them. Show the techniques of controlling anger and release the anger. For example, tearing the paper, drawing down the emotions, using colorful pencils, hitting the pillow, and such things. Next slide, please. Thank you. Set clear rules and boundaries. For example, time to go back home, not skipping lessons, help with households. Rules and boundaries teach discipline and show that parents do not allow arbitrariness. When children have no rules and don't feel controlled, they are more likely to use violence. Of course, it shouldn't be the control like in the prison, but just to show them that you see what they do and that you don't accept everything. Breaking the rules should have consequences, which should be said before with the child, like prohibition of using telephone for one evening and such things. Also, the very important thing, teach values. Education is not only the knowledge and skills, but also values and attitudes. Parents play an essential role in this matter. They can show what is right and what is wrong, what types of behavior are unaccepted and why. This why is also very important because it is a tool for children to understand the causes of their behavior, not only to follow them without thinking. Parents can also teach the respect to other people and explain that the violence is not a good and accepted way of solving conflicts. And the last tip, close cooperation with school. We said it many times today, but it's very important. When a teacher tells about inappropriate behavior of the child, parents shouldn't ignore it or argue with a teacher, but try to find the causes of such behavior, sincerely talk to the child, and if needed, use penalties for bad behavior. Yeah, that's all from me. Marian, over to you.
This is for refreshing. We are refreshing it all the time, that the only way to prevent and combat bullying is cooperation between all those that are involved in the school, teachers, parents, students, and that strengthening our involvement and the involvement of the family in the school. It will be clue not only for creating a safe school environment, but also for creating community, not only community to prevent bullying, but also community for education, for educate. Next one, please. And this is called the Circle of Vistimation. And it is about when a child has been exposed to a bullying situation, and in the warning signs, you will notice that there is not a big difference between being a bully and being bullied. Of course, there are differences psychologically in the suffering and so on, but it is very important to break in some way. It doesn't matter which part you can break on this circle. It is important to break it in order to start to make it disappear, the situation of victimization. And when I was saying, when a child was exposed to this dynamic, he or she will have been building a very poor self-esteem and a very poor empowerment on their personality, and he or she will feel damage on her feelings and on how he can or she can afford what is living. So in order for his or her self-confidence to grow, it is important, he or she will need help, and they will need to feel value. So we will have to work in positive leadership relations. That is, if you are the teacher, you can encourage these programs we have seen in the previous sessions, like promoting the improvement of social skills and talking about emotions and how to deal with them, either the positive emotions and those that make us feel bad and so on. It's very important to break the self-stigma, because either if you are the bully or you are the victim, you are stigmatized in some way. So if you can break this this part, it will be a good start. Also, if these all squares are risk, if we cannot work on them, they become in risk for getting victim or getting a bullying. Such if you have a behavior that is not socially adequate, it increases the risk you to become into the dynamic of bullying. Also, it's important to learn how to regulate your emotions, how to deal with conflict, and so on. I think you can go on. So the proposal with this project, I think, is, and what make it different from other prevention programs, is that prevention programs often place the point into finishing the negative behaviors, and our proposal would be teaching on prosocial behaviors that will empower the children to develop kindness and collaboration and empathy between them, and also compassion, and to be able of placing in the other shoes. And because it's not enough to teach them what not to do, or we need to make them proactive about to become better as a citizen, as a person, and so on. And I think to flipping the point from the teaching what not to do, we can start to work in a team, to share the achievements they have, to have a common happiness of having achieved success together with peers, to respect each other and stimulate them in a safe environment. Next one, please. And there are good news that when we start to practice kindness, this is not only contagious with them, but also results in greater happiness and increased friendship relationship between the group. So it's a win-win practice. Start to practice kindness. And as we said, when there is a problem in the school, in this case, we are talking about bullying, we try to fix the problem, but it happens most of the time that fixing do not fix. So it's better to empower kids to act as includers instead of having to intervene once they are excluding or once they are having, they are involved in the bullying dynamics. So when we instill in the children the prosocial skills and prosocial behavior, we are spreading also mutual understanding and peace and a peaceful way of solving conflict. Also empathy between them. We are helping them or supporting them on how to deal with their emotions and so on. Next one, please. And I titled this Scanning the Playland, but if you watch or see the image detailed, these are some reasons why children can be bullied, but it's not about this on this image. Is that when we can teach our child to scan the room or the playground or the playland, to search who he thinks or she thinks that will need a friend, and we teach them to go close to that person, we are also offering them strategies of detecting problematic or situation that can be developed into risk situation. So if they find this girl in the center, it's about vulnerability. If they find something is alone in the playland, it can happen that he or she can want to be alone, but most of the times, if you approach to that children as a child that wants to play with him or her, it's going to be very welcome, this attitude. So if we start to teach them how to approach to other children, on how to share their creativeness, or how to empower difference, because they are a source of enrichment for everybody. If we teach them how to scan the panorama, it's a good strategy for them to reflect about it. Also, if they are bystanders, they will have some strategies to detect situations before they go into more important problems. So next one. So we are talking about empowering children. As teachers and also as parents, we are in a very good position, because especially in the early ages, they see all of adults as a model. The adults they love or they feel attached to, they tend to learn by modeling. So if they see that we are listening and empathizes, they will also tend to repeat that behaviors. And empathetic children, if we work with them this behavior, this skill, they will generate 1,000 and very big drips of kindness. And as we see, it's not only about kindness, but kindness becomes into friendships, in improving the friendships relationship in the group, which will be fine for everybody. And kids have also, their nature is included. They tend to include others initially, so we can promote and enhance this attitude. And teaching as we said in the last slide, if we teach them some strategies to scan what is happening in a group situation, we are giving them a big force to prevent between them, among the peers. And also it's nice to practice ways to get involved and to have other involving in a game, because sometimes it's when the child is, for instance, shy, maybe he would like to go into one group, but at the end do not do it because it's shy and too much for him. But if we teach him how to do it and we practice how to do it, it can be improved as every skill. And it's the last point is an interesting one is the unintentional exclusion, that sometimes, especially when the kids are in the early ages, they not exclude others intentionally, but they exclude because they are very excited for something they are doing, or because they are going quickly into an activity. And we have to talk with them about this situation, because it's important they be aware since very little how the excluded can feel, and start to practice and to make some kind of roles games to understand this situation that is very easily flipped, let's say. So they are naturally included. So if we teach them, it happens that sometimes they are so excited and so busy in some activity that they forgive their peers, they will change. And using the robot is a very good tool. We are seeing is efficient also. And I think, Stefan, is your time.
Okay. Hello to everybody. You had some, well, very nice presentation by both the project partners from Poland and from Marian Blanco from Castilla y León Regional Administration. And well, some of suggestion, please take it as they're just suggestion, because they are in conflict with some legislation, of course, coming from the different countries, especially the relationship between the school and the, well, let me stop sharing for a while this moment, especially those connected with the school and connected with the parents, because in some countries like Italy, this is not possible at all, some kind of connection. Because the school is very well regulated, but there is a black hole that comes from the school and goes into the parents. The black hole has the visible and invisible barrier. Very correctly, Maria mentioned the stigmas. Stigmas is the base of this visible and visible barrier. But also this black hole is just made not only for what we've seen up to now, but it's made also because the school has a certain role, social role, and when the children are coming out from the school, moving to the family, they're moving into another dimension, another space, psychological, social space. Between those two, there are relationship, friendship, isolation, as well mentioned before, but also cyberbullying, also technology, also everything that goes through the media. And statistically, since 10 years ago, the main bullying impact was due by marks at school. Children mocked because of getting very low marks. They were affected by bullying, and in some cases, the teachers even didn't realize that. Only communicating the marks, they were impacting on the personal self-estimation and psychological attitude of the children. Nowadays, isolation, everything mentioned by Marian Blanco is exactly correct. But there are also what comes on the virtual environment. This is very, very important for them because the image of themselves has moved from personal environment, school environment, family environment, friendship, non-friendship environment, but also media environment, social networks. So I was thinking that one of the main invisible barrier or visible barrier is what the parents think about the school and the teacher. So I've been thinking about some questions that I want to discuss with you. Now let me share up again. Okay, imagine that we all of us are parents. Well, some of you already are parents, and some of you, most of you are teachers. But I have some questions for parents. How do they see the school? Sociologically, the parents, they see a school as a very protected environment, an environment where they can delegate, in some cases, the educational strategies, also a place able to prepare the children to tackle the society problem, the social problems. It means not only educational or skill learning attitude, but also their own personal problems. And it has been underlined in many sociological research that the family with a lot of problems, they are showing into children as a reflection, as a mirror, personal problem in the classroom and with the mates. It means that the worries of the families and the problem of the families, they were in some way growing up and acting through the child into the school. This is some cases, but on the other cases, families' worries are focused on the school, as the school being able to solve every social possible problem. This is it's a very big burden and a huge responsibility of the school in parents' mind without understanding what really school is. And we could ask to 1,000 teachers and we could get 1,000 different opinions about what the school should be and it is. But if you ask to parents, you got only one. School is the future. School is the hope. School is imagination of what the future for their children is. So the attention to children goes to attention to school. And in most of the cases, there is a huge social conflict between the school, the teacher, and the parents. Because the parents, they don't understand the teacher's roles, they don't understand the school roles in the society, and they don't understand which are the limits that the teacher cannot overstep at all. So bullying, is it a school problem, a personal psychological problem, educational problem, or family problem, or only just a social problem? It's all. But the school limit is that when it's finished school, they have to stop. They cannot intervene into the social sphere. They cannot intervene into the family sphere. They can give suggestions. They can announce some, and they can see and underline some problem evident for them into the children, but they cannot tell to parents how to be parents. Education is not delegated to school. The school has a part called socialization, co-education, peer education, cooperative learning, metacognitive, proximal learning environment. You can define all the pedagogical issues, but the educational issues are concerning the parents. And it's very difficult to organize events for parents. Let's analyze some very difficult aspects. When you're dealing, I give an example. In Italian schools, the parents can meet the teacher only twice a year for official meeting, and once a week for 1 hour, whenever they need, or when they're called by the teacher council, because the child or the head, it happens some special events. That's called special events. No other way to communicate with parents, no other way to communicate with the teacher. It's forbidden to straight communication with teachers only if there's a special agreement and a special project involving a teacher, a special need teacher, or a family intern. But when the school wants to organize an event, very few parents participate. Even they have delegates for parents as a representative with the school dialogue during special moments during the year, but the participation of the parents is very low. There is a huge delegation to school to something that should be on their important role. So when there is a problem, let's imagine a Moroccan family. It's just an example. I don't want to underline or focus with anyone. But in Moroccan culture, even the brother of the children, when they are 13 or 14, are considered men. So they delegate them to go to teachers' meeting once a year, the most important moments. And this is very difficult because what can understand a teenager about education? Why they do it? Because they delegate. They're coming from other cultures. They totally delegate the school to all the problems, but they don't face the problem at all. And this is a big problem because the conjunction between school and family is very important. It can cover the black hole due to from the time outside the school, but also the time on social media, which is becoming bigger and bigger nowadays. So the parents never understood and never asked themselves which are the limits of the school. The limits of the schools are very clear defined. They are defined by legislation, and a teacher cannot overstep those limits. He cannot intervene in the family affairs. He cannot interfere in educational affairs. School is not a place to complete the education. It is supporting educational field to families. So it's very important to train the families, know how to behave with children, but which are the limits of the schools, because otherwise they will accuse the school for any possible problem dealing with a social difficulty like bullying. And this is one of the main problems of bullying, because the family delegating, they don't pay attention to children's attitude, those attitudes that Marian Blanco underlined very clearly before. And this is a problem. In some countries, there is a special attention by parents to children because they have a further development of pedagogy and relationship with the school. I imagine Turkey, for example, where the family can go even into the school and can assist to lesson and participate to lesson, which is forbidden in Italy and other European countries. So, but they have other problems on the other side because family are judging the school without understanding the learning processes. So, what do they will improve in the school? In some cases, it has been underlined in many sociological research, that they always think about the school to be improved, but they don't think about themselves. There is a demonstrated research by PISA analysis survey that a family with a news magazine or a book on the table increase a lot the learning attitude of the children. The dialogue, the reading together, the discussion, staying together, sharing time, playing together, allows to the family not only to pass some learning attitude, but also some educational aspects. The first example for children are the parents, not the school. So they're always looking for improve the school with technology, with the space, reducing number of children, and teachers' attitude. They're very important but they don't look at themselves. And this is another aspect that has to be tackled if we want that really the school works in communication with the family. The family should look how they could improve themselves, the parents, their attitude, and the dialogue with the teacher in a respecting way, because in most cases, teachers are not respected of the family. Nowadays, we assist for some political issues that I don't want to mention now, but they are very dangerous. And they look at the school and the teacher as the main responsible for all the social problems, without considering which are the limits of the teacher and the schools. Because the teacher and the schools have to deal with pedagogy, have to deal to learn an environment, to learn an attitude, to create a happy space where they can develop their own creativity, I mean the children. But outside the school, there's a black hole. The biggest hole is outside. Every teacher is committed to control and check and really understand, because most of the teachers are very empathic by professional attitude with children. But outside, what's happening outside? From the school gate to entering the family. This is something that should be really tackled in an appropriate way. That's why it would be nice to have even robotic versus bullying, to have a family and parents involved into this process and to play with them and analyzing the results. So another aspect I found during my researches as a sociologist is which para should have a teacher. I mean, during the years, 50, 60 years ago, the teachers was like God, had the power even for physical punishment, for exclusion from the classroom, from reproaching what's happening in a very strong way. He had a very big power. Along the year, the pedagogy I've substituted with all the psychological, sociological, and pedagogical aspects, this kind of punishment. The school and the teacher, they don't have the power to punish anyone. And luckily, they don't have the power, because it was a power that it shouldn't be given to teacher. But they have the power to show the problem and to discuss the problem. This is the only power they have. If they find the problem in the classroom, they can report the problem. They can find a solution with the special need teacher or the headmaster or the council of teachers, but they cannot approach directly to anything. Luckily, because that was the most wrong attitude in the past, in the former years. So the teacher has not a real power. He has the power to denounce to the proper authorities, listen to the council of teachers and the headmaster and the school, see if something very heavily is happening. But luckily, as Marian Blanco underlined, the power to punish directly has been already in some countries, at least the countries of the project, eradicated from school since many years. So we're coming to last point. Do parents trust the school then? It would be nice to analyze this. It would be nice to have you as a teacher to make a small research with the parents. They trust the school when things are going well? Do they trust school when the kids are going badly at school or they have some problems? They always discharge the problems on school. They never tackle the problem thinking that they are responsible of the children's problem. So this kind of delegation of responsibility to the school, it's something that creates those two invisible barriers. On one side, the teacher that feel the pressure of the burden given by family and some cases aggressivity. I give an example. Once many years ago, and a family came to a meeting to me and said, very aggressive, don't strike. You're not allowed to strike because I don't strike, I said. But I was participating in the strike for the children, for the future of the school, not for my personal future. Because in some cases, the school is under the pressure because the school and the culture are the two only left spaces where there is no acceleration, because the growth and the relationship and the education are slow processes. They cannot be accelerated. And in some cases, politics and politic choices, they don't keep under consideration the real school needs. And the schools and the teachers are under pressure everywhere in the world for this reason. So the trust comes from person to person. It should be nice to explore a real example, study case of dialogue between teachers and parents, because in some cases, finding even a small role for parents enhance the level of communication and help the teachers and the parents to find a common solution to solve a problem. Those are my final suggestions. And it would be nice if you have anything to ask, to share, to say. You can open your microphone and just say something. And what we have been showing you today, it's material for a book, because something like that has never been written really in detail. And thank you for Mariam and Claudia for the contribution, because they are coming from two different perspectives. Claudia as a student and outside the school, but coming from a country, and Mariam so many years into the school and into regional administration, and me just an external view from a sociological point of view. So I think most of you are teachers, and I'm very happy that you are so many, 71 participants now. So please, we said something very strong. It should provoke, Luminita say yes with the head. It should provoke a very, very deep and important discussion. Don't worry about your English. And none of us has been born mother tongue here in this group. So if you want to say something, I don't ask to Pirvo because I know he's not a teacher. Even he has been writing a lot of laws about culture in Romania. I remember when he was younger that we've been discussing a lot about legislation for culture in Romania. So please, give voice to the crowd. Daniela, now finally see you. She's very kind, Daniela, always bright, very nice. Thank you, Stefano, thank you. She's very lovely indeed. None of you.
Hello, everybody. Okay, now that you say my name, I will say something. Hello to everybody. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm a sport teacher, and I'm very excited to be a part in this project. And I would like to ask you to share your opinions about, do you have this situation when a parent comes in school and think that my child is the best? So it's never wrong what the child do, because we, the teachers, are wrong, or the situation is wrong, but my child is always the best.
You mentioned another very big problem. Also, we have a problem of gifted children, the real best. And what the parents misunderstood about being the best is assertiveness, we call it. And when a child is always doing what the teacher is doing, but doesn't mean to be gifted, doesn't mean to be special, really. So there is a big conflict indeed. You touched a very, very big point. And especially when you are saying that the child is not the best, the family are very, very aggressive to try to defend the child, and the child is playing a lot of roles into this dimension. Wow, Daniela, you have a lot of best pupils, children, I imagine.
Especially in sport, when we do competitions and things like this, I always teach them that it's sport education is not only to run fast or to jump high. It's about fair play, to help each other, to when, especially with first class, when one team lose and they starting to you lose, we win. So we talk about the bullying also.
This is bullying, exactly.
It is. So it's very obvious. The kids they cannot pretend, but sometimes they're really cruel, you know, in being to the other that lose. So I'm very happy to be in this project.
Yeah, we are trying to, there have been a lot of projects and a lot of strategies to fight against bullying, but very few about preventing. What we try to do is to put some seeds into your perspective, observation, and that could be developed. Claudia mentioned a lot of things that could be done with the family. And those are very important, because if we start in the early childhood to create this environment, if we start with children to make them thinking about, working about what bullying is, they getting aware. And as Mariam Blanco mentioned very well before, when they are aware of something, they don't do it. We had a lot of experiences in the robotics with small Clementoni robots, and with a child called Andrea. It's not the real name, of course. Andrea in primary school, the first year, 6 degrees. And he was very aggressive because he wanted a role all the time. He wanted to be first, to be the best. And without realizing it, he was really killing everyone's attitude. And the more he was isolating because of his behavior, because there was also isolation for behavior, the more he was becoming aggressive because he wanted to have a role with the other. So with robotics and sharing the task of playing the robots, slowly by slowly, he dismounted completely his strong, let's call not aggressive, but strong attitude, asking for attention, asking for love, to compensate something that was coming from family environment, of course. So the game, it's a good strategy, as you mentioned directly, and not only for fair play, I think for team game, it's very important, especially if you're having sport. Team games are, everyone who is playing sport knows the team game. If you don't play for the team, you lose. Look at Ronaldo, the best champion, came to Italy to play, and the football is not winning, the football team. Why? Because everyone plays for himself. There is individualism, envy, and those attitudes are killing even the pleasure to play, even the pleasure to look at it. So education is also to share pleasure, to share, let's call the ball, the robot, to see and to reach a common goal, which is not only winning in society, but just to be happy together. That's pro-social values. This is why this project is into a main network called pro-social value. It's very interesting, Daniela. Thank you for your suggestion. I have no doubt from you, indeed.
Stefano, can I say
Iglica. Oh, another Bulgarian representative. Now Daniela will be more supported by Iglica.
Hi, Mariam, Claudia, and all together. It is very interesting situation which Daniela started, and also it's a continuation of the lecture for Mariam and Claudia, and also yours. And would like to add a little bit value to this. If you are ready to share the ideas, more ideas, it will be nice. But actually, what is the problem in this situation, and to what is the skills that the teachers has to reach? The teacher has to reach. So the first point of view, yes, I'm going to another side. I'm not administrative, you know, and I'm going to practical one. And
the teacher has to have a skill, at first to show the process, not the result. And when going to the dialogue with parents, it will be nice if the teacher can explain to them that the most important thing in collaboration actually is a process, not the result. And when we are saying that somebody is the best one, we are looking on the result. So we measure it. But actually the important thing is to go to the development, and it will be the nice, it is the point that parent will say, yes, I would like to. So the stress will going lower, and the power of teacher, let's say the authority, the understanding, the collaboration between parents and teacher will be going to the balanced way. So the skills of the teacher is look to the processes, to development, to understanding, to sharing, and to the supported dialogue, not to the results with the parents and results with the children. No measuring, just development. Not risk, just the pleasure of learning. I think so. What do you think?
Absolutely agree. How can I disagree with you, Iglika? No, Iglika is one of the greatest pedagogists I ever met in my life. So absolutely agree. And the process, it's everything indeed,
Yes,
because you can guess everything from the process. You can even guess learning difficulties. You can overcome learning difficulties looking at the process. And it's a way in Italian school since 1 year, and in primary school, there is no marks anymore. There is just a summative evaluation, because in order to look at the process instead of looking at the results. And we had 10 years of marks, because a minister decided to look at the evaluation and the results. And luckily, we came back to the past. That was also coming from our Montessori and pedagogy, of course. Very interesting, very interesting. And the teacher should have a lot of gifts. They should choose this profession for not only competencies, but for attitudes. Competency, you can build up the attitudes. No, it could be a vocation. Teach is something that is, and they shouldn't be so low paid indeed all over the world. Because if they are a pillar of the society, we don't understand why they are very low paid indeed. That's another question that is very important. That should be really mentioned all the time, because they should be provided by every possible tool and environment and degrees, the number of students per teacher. It's very important, but also they should be allowed to live a proper life, with satisfaction, and happy to dedicate their energy to children for a future society. That's really important. Thank you, Glika. It's another point. So let's listen if anyone else has something to say, I hope. Otherwise, I will jump to the final step, which is the portfolio. Hello? Sonia, you don't want to say anything? No. No, Kodruta. None of you. The only person I see in face, all the other are hidden away. And okay, Mustafa maybe. No. We are into a silence environment. Strange, because we said Raluca, do you want to add anything? Luminitsa.
Just that I agree with what you said about parents nowadays, and the fact that they delegate the education of their children to school, and they seem to have no time for their children because they work too much. And Of course, they think their child is the best. They don't have time to teach them rules no more. And they think school is responsible for everything, and the teacher.
And at the same time, they think that children are very important, very important.
Yes.
This is a kind of contradiction indeed.
Even Stefano
Go
doesn't
on.
allow me. I still have a question. Do you think I have this question for the Romanian teachers and Bulgarian and Macedonian and Polish colleagues? Do you think the education and the relation between school and family has changed after the communist period? And if yes, in which way?
After the communist years?
Yes.
You're talking about something 20 years ago. And
yes,
for the world, 20 years, wait.
Wait for the answer, Stefano.
Ah, you want to give me the answer?
No, no, no. I wait for them to give the answer.
Yeah, I'm explaining that the world in the last 5 years had a progress considered like 6 million of years. So what happened 20 years ago with the technology and everything happening 20 years ago is not something that could happen now. We cannot, first of all, none can judge communist countries from outside. Even if I studied in Moscow, even if I speak Russian, even if I lived almost more in Russia than almost in Italy, I will never be able to say they were living better or the relationship was better before or after. Because in any case, it was a regime. And if you remember, you know that in '82, they took me in prison in Romania. The Securitate, they set me in prison only because I was taking pictures in Iași in 1982. So how can I say the school was a kind of governmental, like in fascism in Italy, I can tell you fascism, where the government was telling to teach what to teach, how to teach. And those refusing were sent to lagers, were sent to Auschwitz.
This is a myth, Stefano. I lived there, I studied the period. This is a myth.
Yes.
It's not according to reality.
Yeah, I know. No, it's not a myth. It's real.
A myth.
In Italy, it's not myth. It was
real. For Romania,
I don't know.
this approach is a myth.
Okay, Pirbo. I cannot tell you what was the relationship between the family and the communism in your country. How can
no, between the family and school.
I understood communism.
No, the relationship between family and schools.
20 years ago. Me.
30 years Romania. Ago. No, the question is not for you.
For whom?
For our colleagues from Romania, Bulgaria, Macedonia, and Poland.
You want to... Sorry,
can I interview?
Please.
Luminica, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think it's a very different between the period from the communism and from this period. I teach in every period. In communism when I was very young, and it was very hard to teach. It was hard because it was we don't have any technology. Every worksheet was from we make every page for every child, and now we use computer, we use application. It's very easy.
But Luminica, the problem is that this is not the topic for this project.
Yes, that's right.
This is another problem. It's a political problem. It's a political,
that's right.
sociological problem.
It was a question of my colleague. But about this discussion, I want to start from your idea, the team sport. I think it could be a bullying here on a team sport sometimes.
No, of course, also. Bullying can be hidden everywhere.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I wouldn't exclude any environment. It's a very big social problem. It's increasing a lot. Increasing a lot because the possibility of communication are much wider now for teenagers and children now. And just with the smartphone, they can reach hundreds and hundreds of people. Before they can reach a small group into the classroom. And now the problem has enhanced a lot. Well,
last word from me, okay? Sorry. I think that the bullying we see much more when the kids are outside the classes, when there is no control from teachers, but they are in a break. And then it's the behavior that there is no rules. So they are just themselves. So it comes the behavior from the family. Because when we control them in the class, there are rules, and it's a very, very long topic to
this
discuss.
is a very important topic, the family. And it's big and huge because to take the family to understand that they have to cooperate and learn, even to learn some aspects concerning psychology, pedagogy, how to relate to children, how it's important the example they are given. A family with a lot of problems, its impact on children's psychology. There is a neuropsychiatric in French, Olivenstein in France, who defined that in the psychology of the children, there is a mirror. If there is a break, a leak in the family, there is a leak in this mirror. And this leak in this mirror is all the problem, like Claudia was showing, or Mariam, addicted, of addiction later in the future, because he tried to recover the mirror, but if the leak getting wider and wider, so all the problems are coming not only from the family, also the society around. Living in a suburb or living in a very nice, clean place, give a different idea. Living in Beirut, growing up in Beirut or in Gaza is not the same like growing up in Verona. And it's and also the quantity of money given, the independence given to children in some cases can be a problem, because they should be delivered with the kind of growing up responsibility and accompanying the children towards a kind of social role, understanding the impact of it. There are so many psychological aspects that we will not explore all of them here, of course. No, thank you anyway. I want to talk now, before closing, we got just 50 minutes, of a real problem that we have. None of you have filled up the portfolio. So let me share about the portfolio and tell you something. Here is it, the portfolio link. You remember, ubuvirtual.ubu.es. This is very important, the portfolio, because if you don't fill the portfolio, we cannot give you the credit at the end. And the portfolio, it's your impression, your ideas about the courses. So there are links to every meeting, presentation, module 1, introduction to robotics, module 2, module 3, video, and so on. And we have only one person who added something, Paola Raponi from Italy. But something. So this is you see what I see, because she's Italian and I see what she's
I put
producing.
also on mine.
I don't see it because you're not Italian, of course. But please, here are the link, the presentation, explore everything, and please PDF and edit and make your opinion, introduce yourself, everything that you think is important. Okay?
I don't agree. I presented myself, and my colleague Luminica has.
But I don't see it. I don't see it. Daniela, I see only Italians. But I don't see Daniela. I see if I can see Daniela. You're from Bulgaria?
No,
yes.
I'm Octavia from Romania.
Romania. Let's see Romania. If I can see Romania. Romania.
There. Octavia.
Octavia. Margărescu.
Da. Yes.
Okay. This is your portfolio. Okay. You did it. Very nice indeed. Okay. Some of you did it, of course, and it's not evident. Some of not. Oh,
Not
thank you very-
entirely.
Not entirely, but you continue because we need to see the progresses.
I will,
And
I
you-
promise.
Yeah, okay. All the video are already uploaded, and even this one in the video streaming. So you can make your consideration about every video. And also, please feel free to suggest us something. And now you will see the next meeting. You will see the platform, the robot. You will start, I hope, first of all, to play in reality with them. And you will see our games, what we have prepared for you. And we hope that you will give us suggestions and you invent your own strategies. That could be nice. It's just the final share. If you want to add anything before we leave, Mariam, bye.
Yes, about the portfolio, also think that you can see all your colleagues' portfolio. So if you fill in your portfolio, you will have also the chance to know much better all of you among yourselves and establish connections and know how is your school, how are you dealing with this topic on this session and so on. And afterwards, we will have a compendium of many experiences and many ways and how this course impact on you or not, or what are your proposals and so take it also as a way of changing knowledge between yourself, because the good thing of this platform that I understand it's not easy if you are not used to that, is that you can have a look to all your colleagues' portfolios and take knowledge of them also. So it's
Thank you, Maria. Hello. Okay, I have to mute something. Anyone want to say anything else? We have a lot of, can you turn off the webcam for a while, just to see who is really present, who is not? I'm sorry, the microphone off. Okay, okay. Wow, Jose, nice to see you. From Portugal, our friends. Elika?
Hi, Stefano. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
I'm here, I'm listening, but I'm doing
I know.
other things.
Now I know.
But you have the fortune to have always the full room of people. So probably my words are not so important.
Marina, hi, from Scotland. Okay, well, all our friends. Oh, okay. So I hope one day we will meet in the real training course, project training course, and in different countries. This pandemic seems slowly by slowly coming to the end. So, and especially in Bulgaria, I know in Bulgaria they are celebrating the freedom from, I'm joking, and they are in the darkest lockdown. They're telling me, don't come to Sofia. You die even thinking about it. Okay, I hope they will vaccinate everyone and we will be easy for teachers to meet again. We need to meet in person indeed. Noelia, nice to see you. So many years. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. And okay, let's meet the next time for continuing this training course. Thank you to everyone. You know the website, you know the streaming, and I close the streaming now.